And definitely kind of there wasn't really like a one-stop shop to kind of get an idea of um, what you're up against. So I think it's great. A lot of the stuff that I've learned, I mean, I've been lucky to high fives is kind of around the corner from where I live, so um, they've been like super instrumental in just having that like healing network, and not just physical but like mental. And I'm able to be around people in chairs pretty regularly, so um, I guess some people have that, some people don't. I guess if you live in like Denver or whatever, somewhere near like a rehab facility, um, you have that. And obviously, um, just partaking in like adaptive sports, like quad rugby, or going out on like some of the high fives camps. That's kind of where I've gained a lot of knowledge about, the little tips and tricks of
Yeah.
going through a spinal cord injury. And
So we're wanting to like find a way to capture that and put it in an indexed kind of format where you could actually go to our website and be like, what do I need to know about wound care? Or, hey, look at this cool fork this guy came up with, so you figured out how to navigate that better or whatever. Um,
yeah,
I think it's just invaluable when I watch you guys speak to each other, not being gender specific. When I watch anyone with two people with SEI, the depth of conversation is, it's just incredible of what you guys share with each other,
yeah,
like, wow, if that could just be organized somehow, how
yeah,
incredible.
totally. Especially like early on, because it's like it's real easy to like make mistakes and spend unnecessary money. And so yeah, kind of being able to like get yourself in the right chair initially, or yeah, just or get yourself in the right vehicle, like all those things. Like I've seen people just, I mean, it happens to most of us. I think when we first get in a chair, like we never really know what we're doing or how to get fitted, or and then a lot of people just uh, I've seen people like pick the wrong vehicle, and like that's a pretty big like financial mistake.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, and for it to be a resource where as a collective, everyone's kind of like, oh my gosh, you got to go put that on the Mods for Quads website so people know that, you know what I mean? Like as soon as you discover something.
yeah, no, I think it's cool.
Did you have a chance to review the questions that we wrote up for you?
Yeah, I took a look at them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like think out my answers too
No.
much, but
Okay.
I don't really. I'll probably do better not thinking it out, because I don't know. I looked at them; they're all pretty straightforward. So
Okay.
I think,
So, before we dig in and kind of hear your story, Adam, do you want to say anything?
um, not no, not too much. I mean, I think we'll kind of cover the gist of it with the questions you guys have.
Okay. All right. So, I'm going to just kind of start us off, pretend like this is now starting a video, okay? Adam, do
Yeah.
you want to do the interviewing again, or do you want me to do it?
I'll leave it to you. I think you did a great job last time, and it went well. So let's keep going with that.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, here we go. Hi, everyone. We have Jason Abraham with us today, and you are in the Lake Tahoe area, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Susan Leedy. This is Adam Lavender, the founders of Mods for Quads. And Jason is our next High Fives athlete that we are interviewing. Again, we want to just kind of capture some of these outstanding athlete stories, what they've to catapult their healing process with mind, body, soul, and spirit, and hear his story. So The first question I'm going to ask you, Jason, is to just kind of tell us about your injury and the day it happened.
Yeah, so I got injured while I was skiing at Squaw Valley on April 9th, 2015. And I was skiing in an area called the Palisades. And before my injury, I was a photographer, and I was actually up there to shoot photos. And anyways, I was done shooting photos and decided to take a run with some friends, and dropped into an area off the Palisades called Main Chute, um, a chute that I'd skied probably 50 to 100 times before, and just made some GS turns and was kind of coming to a stop where like my friends were, and just caught an edge and tried to correct myself, picked up some speed, and ended up falling and kind of tumbling, and I must have hit the back of my neck on kind of like a harder ice bump, and yeah, so I dislocated my C6 vertebrae, and I was helivac to Renown Hospital and spent 14 days there, and then spent almost 3 months at Craig Hospital.
So you were a Craiger too, huh?
Yep. Yep.
Wow. So tell us more. Tell us the play-by-play in your head, in your emotional being.
Yeah, I mean, so when it happened, I was definitely conscious, but I knew right away that I was paralyzed, couldn't move, just tingling in my body, obviously panicking, not, like I wasn't in pain. It was more just panic because I knew that life was about to take a drastic turn. And so, yeah, I was surrounded by friends and ski patrollers, and the evacuation process was super quick. Um, I was at a location on the mountain where it was pretty easy to bring a helicopter in and get me out of there. And then I think pretty quick into the helicopter, they must have given me some kind of drug because I don't really remember much of the helicopter ride until I got to the hospital, and like, I remember going into surgery, and yeah, I seeing my wife down at the hospital before surgery, and yeah, and then it was just kind of 14 days in the ICU. That was kind of just laying around for the most part, trying to figure out what's next.
So you tell your life before you were married, kids, photographer.
Yeah, I'm married. I have a 10-year-old son who was 4 at the time of my injury, and yeah, I was a action sports photographer, bartender, and
Nice.
pretty active
Job.
skier, mountain biker, sort of anything outdoors I could do, kind of person.
Living life large, huh?
Yeah.
So the surgery that you did, was it, I mean, what did they do to was it your spinal column that they were operating?
Yeah, I mean, I think they had to kind of reset the C6 vertebrae, and then they fused C5, 6, 7. But it wasn't like I think most people are in a neck brace longer because I didn't really break anything. I didn't have any other injuries. I didn't have any bruises. It was literally just, I just hit that like wrong spot, and yeah, and so that was that. But yeah, I mean, it put pressure on my spinal cord, and so.
Kinked it enough to have a result, huh?
Yep. But,
The next question is, like, what are the biggest challenges or setbacks that you faced in your recovery?
Um, well, the biggest challenge, obviously, well, not obviously, but one of my biggest challenges, and still one of my bigger challenges to this day, is just some of the things that I anticipated doing with my son. Um, I can still do quite a bit with him, but not being able to ski with him to the extent that I'd like to, just like not being able to do sports and whatnot with him
Mhm.
um, is definitely like I can like I go mountain biking with him, and there's definitely things that we do together. It's just not at the level that I'd like to be able to do it. I think skiing is probably one of the bigger challenges. I just yeah, I anticipated just skiing with him all the time. That's kind of what I did was doing a lot with him before I got hurt. So
Teaching
uh,
him everything you know and
yeah, so and I found like ways to do what I can, but it's that challenges me a lot. And then just sort of just like the everyday struggles, you know, using the bathroom, showering, um, sex, all, like that stuff is, I do it. It's just, it's a challenge. Like
yeah,
it's,
Adam and I were thinking we should even have like a whole course on just sex and all the impacts, to the marriage, to the relationship. And
yeah. Yeah. Just not being able to do all like, not being able to help the way I should be able to help is just always a struggle. But you know, you find ways to do things that you didn't do before that are helpful in ways that weren't helpful before. So
so we were talking earlier, I don't know that I recorded this piece, but just to tell the audience, I mean, now um, you've adapted to a lot of the athletic side of things. So you're doing skiing, mountain biking, rugby. What else did you say? Surfing. So you kind
yeah, I do adaptive surfing. Some I get in like their RZRs, which is like a motorized like side by side.
yeah.
Uh, so
So what is your life like now as far as career and are you working or are you able to work? How does that go?
Yeah, I help my wife. She's kind of become a photographer at this point. So I sort of help her run that business and kind of do some production coordination and photography management and asset management. So I kind of
Keep your
do like a lot of the office work and coordinating.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool to be able to kind of still have the creative angle
Definitely.
in my work life.
Yeah, that's nice that you two can work together. And
Yeah.
what has she done with this whole process? Like, has she found a lot of support as a caregiver? Um,
Um, yeah. I mean, my wife's she's just kind of like figures it out and gets it done. She kind of learned everything in the hospital, and then her and I have just kind of figured it out together. And she's just like really strong woman. I mean, we live literally like right now by Meadows. Like you could ski to our house, and we get a lot of snow. And you know, she's just that was something I used to do is just remove snow and deal with the firewood and like all of those things. She just does it all. She's just kind of like the woman that like gets it all done somehow gets it all done on top of being a mom and cooking and everything else. So
sounds
uh,
like a huge gift and blessing in your life.
yeah, and she's friends with some people that have lost their husbands, and some other really strong women in the community. So I'm sure that has a little support network there. But she's just one of those women that she doesn't really like feel bad for herself. She just kind of goes and gets it done.
Yeah. Adam's got a pretty amazing wife too. I mean, it's changes everybody's life, you know.
Yeah,
Well, that's
definitely
great. I'm glad
very
you.
lucky.
So getting into some of that creative talk, what have you found to maximize your recovery and improve your quality of life? Like when you were saying, discovering don't buy the wrong vehicle, or, like give us some of your couple really helpful tips or whatever.
Yeah, I think for us, keeping things simple. When when you first get hurt and you realize that you're not. I mean, some people walk again, but a lot of people don't. Most people don't, and you realize that you're going to be in a chair, so you have like all these things to consider to make life feasible. And obviously, a lot of those big ones are modifying your home, getting a vehicle that's adapted to a disabled person, choosing the right chair, all that stuff. So, like for us, it was just kind of keeping it simple and trying to um, minimize the financial impact. So we got pretty lucky. We had an immense amount of community support, and the house that we own it's like a small house, but it's a two-story house, and it's kind of like a tree house. So one of the big challenges was like, well, how am I gonna get into the house? Because our downstairs is basically our son's room and a garage and an entryway, and then the gist of the house is upstairs. We have our kitchen, our living room, and then our master bedroom and bathroom. So um, through high fives, I was put in touch with another quad who used a boat lift to get upstairs. Or I guess the one that I have is I think it's a jet ski lift. And anyways, we got lucky, and a woman that he knows had one that she wasn't using, and she donated it to me. And I had another guy just kind of modify it. So I basically have like a little shed and a jet ski lift with a remote that kind of like takes me from the driveway up to the deck, and there's a sliding door and I can get into my house. So just
Is
like
that all times of the year? It doesn't matter and what the weather is.
yeah, they kind of like built like a shed on top of it, so it's like a platform. And um, a guy that a contractor friend of ours was able to like kind of make it like a little shed that kind of resembles our house. Pretty simple design, and it was pretty inexpensive. And yeah, so
That's
just lucky to have.
it.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at the like lifts that you would get, like an ADA lift, run like $20,000, and I think we were able to do the whole lift thing for like $6,000. And it's been bomber. Like I should knock on wood. So that was awesome. And then the things that we did in our house were, pretty simple. We just like opened the floor plan up and, made the bathroom. I was just lucky that it was a pretty simple remodel, and just opened up the bathroom. So we were able to utilize a roll-in shower situation, and it doesn't really feel like a handicap.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like a handicap house. That was like something my wife studied interior design, and that was like kind of a big thing for her, was to like not have a house that had like grab bars and that kind of stuff all over the place. So it feels like pretty normal for the most part. So that was a huge thing. the vehicle situation was a big thing too. I was fortunate enough to have some money raised when I got hurt, and I was awarded a grant, and just had some pretty good financial support, and I was able to get a Sprinter van. And we didn't really do much to the Sprinter van. We just kind of took out two seats. There's like 3 rows of seats, and we just took out 2 of the seat benches and sold those and put in what's called like a super arm lift. It doesn't take up much room, and so I use that. It kind of like comes down and you connect it to your chair, and then it like lifts you up. It's kind of like it's like almost like a swing. It like swings you in and out of your van. So that was like quite a bit less expensive than some of the other lifts to get you into your van. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'm also lucky that I have like enough function that, I mean, I really only had to put a lift in, and like we put a manual swivel seat on the driver's seat, and then I have hand controls. And there was like all these other things that we considered doing. Like we were going to put like a automatic door and like an automatic swivel seat, and like when you start to look at all that, it goes from like $12,000 to like $30,000. So it was like,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna just try and do everything as much manual as we can, and so we
So
did that. And
sorry, do you drive then?
What's that?
Are you able to drive?
Yeah. I started driving, like that was the other thing. Like when I got home and I talked to this friend of mine who's a quad too and has quite a bit less function than me, his big thing was like, dude, you gotta drive as soon as you possibly can, because like that's been the thing that's given me the most freedom and has allowed me to kind of go out and venture on my own. So that was a huge step in my recovery. But going back to it, it was like um, the door to our van, like to a Sprinter van, is quite heavy, and I had no clue, like if I was going to be able to like realistically do this. But we just decided that we were going to go for it, and it was definitely a struggle for a while. But it's gotten to the point where like I've just like figured out how to open and close it, and I can like manually get around in my chair. And long story short, it saved us a lot of money, and it also kind of just forced me to learn how to do something that was quite difficult at first. So
Yeah, I've heard that. We interviewed one other guy so far, and it's really freeing and eye-opening to have a goal like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to figure this out one way or another, and then look at what happened. It just totally opened up your life.
yeah, 100%. And I know, like, I have like dreams of like making our Sprinter van sort of more like we can camp in it and stuff, but it's not set up like to do it super easily. But I can like camp in it independently. Like I throw these pads down, so like you don't have to have the fanciest like camper van set up to find ways to like do the camper van, like adaptive like camping lifestyle. It can be kind of modified, simple, and like it's my daily driver too. So like it's not something that I want to have. Like I enjoy having like all the space in there. Like sometimes I'm able to work out of there, or like if I'm at a camp or whatever, and I just like need to get some like alone time. It's kind of nice to just go in there and chill. And so like I kind of like I get claustrophobic, so I think it's just kind of nice to keep things as simple as possible, and then you don't have to like when you get all the mechanics involved, if they break or something like that, it's just like it can be like a major setback. So
you're able to get yourself in and out of your chair, is that right?
yeah, I can transfer in and out of my chair.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yes, definitely lucky to have enough function to do that.
So on top of that, then, like, do you have goals that you continuously are setting for yourself since you were able to do so many things, all your athletics and your car and what are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always just like trying to become more and more independent. That's always like a big goal for me. And so there's just certain times where it's like, I remember when I was, um, we had, I don't know, I think it was a year or two into the injury. And like a big thing for me was being able to like go down to like Santa Cruz on my own and like camp in the van and not have my wife or kid with me, or like just go with my son without my wife camping for a day or two. And so like, I did that. Um, and now one of my goals, and it's been a goal, is to get back into skiing. And currently the skiing equipment they have for quads just I just don't like it. Like you have to strap your hands to these outriggers, and you need a lot of support to do it. And I know, like with my bike, I can be like super independent. I can go and bike around in the mountains on my own, and I think that there's definitely an opportunity to build or design a new adaptive sit ski for quads where you could get in and ski on your own.
Mhm.
So that's one of my goals, is to maybe have a hand in figuring that out and get out and ski and hopefully design a piece of equipment that might help other quads. Um, so that's one I've been thinking about and trying to figure out how to accomplish, and haven't really got there yet. But
Website would be like the perfect spot for you to find other people to work with on that.
yeah, I need an engineer and somebody that's willing to do it. But they make it like there's a bike that this company in Canada is making. It's called it's the Bowhead, and the bike articulates, and it has three wheels. And I like envision just like something similar to the bike, but with skis. And I think that would be an opportunity for mid-level to low-level quads to and high-level quads to be able to kind of go out and ski on their own on relatively difficult terrain.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
So yeah, like stuff like that, and then obviously, being able to do more things with my son and my wife. And
Are you finding, you said you're 6 years post recovery, is that right?
yeah, it'll be 6 years in April.
Um, are you finding that you're continuing to make progress with your physical recovery, like from a movement perspective? Are you,
Um, so like I don't, yeah, like I don't feel like I ever really got much more function back. I think my tricep got stronger. Um, but for the most part, like my function kind of stayed pretty much the same since my injury. What has happened, and I would say continues to happen to an extent, is I've just learned to use what I have like much better. Um, Obviously, when you first get hurt, it's kind of like being born again. It's like crawling to being able to like kind of move, and then just like figured out little tricks throughout the way to better transfer. Just how to use your hands, like what you have with your hands better. Um,
Mhm.
Using your arms, trying to do whatever you can to just like maintain strength too. Like I work out regularly, um, and so
What does a
just
workout look like for you? Do you go off site or in your house? What do you do?
so currently I work out at High Fives once a week, and then I have like bands and dumbbells, and um, I just got these things. It's called like a split rope, and it's sort of like a jump rope, but it's like kind of cut in half and uses kind of like a thicker rope that you use, and you just kind of like twirl it around. And I just got those. Those are cool. So I have things that I like since the pandemic. I've just kind of built like a workout routine at the house. So and then obviously like I just started playing rugby again, but we usually do that like 2 or 3 days a week in the fall and the winter. And I bike regularly in the summer, just with my adaptive off-road hand cycle. And whenever I can, I go try and go surfing. So um,
Yeah, that sounds cool. It'd be great. I don't know if your wife would be up for it or not, but I would love to see just a little short video workout to
yeah,
post on our site to help others that necessarily weren't such strong athletes before their injury to, encourage them to continue to move and why that's advantageous. But I mean,
yeah, we could totally do that.
I would love to feature you on our site doing that. I think it'd be really helpful.
Yeah, I think the things that I do at home are definitely things that people with my level or slightly above my level or even slightly below my level could definitely incorporate into their lives.
Okay, well, I'd love to talk to you about that offline. Um,
Sure.
hey, I have one last question for you. You ready?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your previous self following your injury after all these years of learning?
Oh, I think like the biggest thing is just to like slow down, just kind of take things in, have more appreciation for um, what's going on. It's super easy to like take life for granted, and so when you have a life altering injury, it's pretty eye opening to recognize like what you had and how awesome it was, and then when something happens like a spinal cord or some whatever life altering injury or traumatic situation somebody goes through, it's really simple. It's like really eye opening, and so just slowing down and just appreciating life for what it is, and um,
Yeah,
not
really.
taking it for granted. Yeah, I think that would be for sure my biggest thing, and just having like more appreciation for those around you, and do more to help others and be grateful for all the things that all the gratitude and stuff that other things that people have done for you. Um,
Yeah.
for me, it's just like I feel like I took a lot of things for granted. So I try and recognize that more now that I'm injured.
Yeah. And your son is 10, you said? What grade is he in?
Yeah, he's 10. He's in fourth grade. So
What's his name?
his name is Ebbett, Ebbett.
Ebbett.
Yeah.
Well, what a blessing. Um, Adam, do you want to ask anything before we sign off? You haven't heard from you much.
Well, we could talk for a while. There's all kinds of questions I could ask. Um, but that's it. Are we done? We're done with the questions then?
Well, why don't you go ahead and ask one because we have a little bit of time left, and yeah, go ahead.
What was your Asia score originally?
Oh man, can't even remember. Asia A is go. What is like? I don't even remember what they all are.
A is complete. A is complete, and then there's B is within two vertebrae. You have sensation, two vertebrae down, I believe,
Yeah,
and then
I'm A B. I'm incomplete, and I have like sensation, but I don't have any movement below my chest.
okay.
Yeah.
But you do have. Do you have do you have sensation like in your feet?
Just like pins and needles, basically from I have like less sensation, kind of like in my like torso, kind of um, core area, and then once you get to like my butt and I think like past my knees and into my feet, it's like pins and needles tingling. Like I can feel like the pressure of somebody touching me, but like if you were to like put like a knife in my leg, it wouldn't hurt. Like I'd feel it, but it wouldn't hurt. So
And one other thing I want to mention, because I'm a quad skier, is I'd like to hear more about your ideas over time around that, because I'm in the enabling technologies by Dynamique, the bi-ski with 3 inches of travel, and you know, I'm on tether without outriggers, so I'm
yeah,
not using outriggers. I have enough trunk that I'm able to kind of navigate and pretend that I'm snowboarding, and but obviously, I have to have an instructor behind me, and like you mentioned, it takes a whole lot for me to get out for the day.
yeah,
Between relying on the resort is one thing, but then an instructor, and luckily we have a program that allows me to ski in a way that I can afford to ski, because it'd be way too prohibitively expensive otherwise. So I get some great help there, but it's something like you're mentioning. It's something that it takes a lot of resources to pull together just to get out and ride for the day.
yeah, for
So,
sure. Um, yeah, man, I'm like super convinced that there's a better way for quads to ski. You just got to find the right people to figure it out. But I don't know if
right,
you've done adaptive mountain biking or anything, but you know, I can go down like pretty steep hills on a mountain bike independently and get in and out of my mountain bike on my own. And I know that there's got to be a way to do that on a ski. It's just kind of upgrading the tech and having a little
right,
bit redesigned. So hopefully one day that will happen.
So in our
yeah,
website too, that's what we want to create, is like community groups of people where you can actually ping everyone and say, hey, let's get on with each other and brainstorm this. What has your experience been? Who do you know? I mean, I feel like it's the perfect format for that. So maybe we'll try to put a panel together.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get like some of these adaptive mountain bike designers together with some of the adaptive sit ski designers together, and with quads that have some experience on skis, and just kind of hammer out a few designs. That would be pretty super. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, well, I will make note of that for sure.
yeah. And once we get things rolling with mods for quads, we'll have to have a ski day over here at Aspen Snowmass.
Yeah,
Bring
it sounds.
everybody.
Yeah,
That sounds
we already had our first annual. We're going to do another one, and we have a lot of adaptive trails being built too. Do you have a lot of that going on in there in California?
yeah, more and more. It's kind of like becoming. We have a lot of good mountain bike trails here. Are you talking about like ski trails or mountain bike trails?
No, mountain bike, like adaptive for mountain bikes.
Yeah, totally. We have some of that here. And then the bike that I have is a reactive adaptations bike. I know Jake is might even, or no, he might. Is he in Aspen? I can't remember if he's in Aspen or maybe he's in Crested Butte. Crested Butte, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's cool. A lot of the bike trails are sort of jumping on board, and it's just making those trails 40-inch and trying to keep them as on camber as they can. But the new bikes that you can articulate, they don't even really need to be on camber. It's just the quads can't run them as well yet. They're starting to figure that out. So,
Well, it'll be exciting to see what comes up next with everything.
yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. Like, since I've been hurt, I mean, I remember that was one of the first things I looked into was like the mountain bike stuff and the evolution of where they were when I first got hurt to where they are now is pretty insane. So it's definitely been cool to see. So, and I've also noticed that like a lot of the things that people in the adaptive world figure out, a lot of times translate into new technology for able-bodied people as well. So it's
Well,
cool.
that's what I always say. I think you guys are some of the most amazing healers out there. It's just that we need to showcase that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to follow up with you on this workout video and hopefully this sit ski thing too.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me chat with you guys. It was fun.
Great to hear your story, man.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Good,
Sure
good
to
meet
stay in touch.
Yeah, hopefully we'll meet each other in person sometime.
I
Yep.
know we will. All
Right
right.
on, guys.
Have a great
Take care.
weekend.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.